So, hey again, this is Nicolas from Ubisoft. You already seen me, hopefully, in the previous talk. I met that guy. His title is really interesting. His official title at Ubisoft is BIM. Blockchain, Blockchain Initiative Manager. And it's really phenomenal to see Ubisoft, who is knee-deep, he's a AAA game maker, realizing how blockchain may be impacting the future of games. So this is really what that talk is about. We've been working together, and he's going to share a few things that they've been doing internally at Ubisoft that I don't think anyone has seen yet outside of Ubisoft. So that's going to be exclusive content, pretty exciting. So he's going to be showing you a little bit what their thinking is on blockchain, and and hopefully we'll share a little bit what we think may be the future of gaming thanks to blockchain. You can start.
Thank you for this introduction, really nice. Firstly, I have to say that I'm really impressed. On the contrary to Benny, it's my first public talk outside of Ubisoft. And I'm kind of a fraud, like you said yesterday, because I'm not a tech guy. But when I've discovered what blockchain could do, I was really into it. So today, I would like to kill two birds with one stone. First, I want to show you how Ubisoft is approaching the question of blockchain, the topic of blockchain. And secondly, I would like to ask this question that is driving us at Ubisoft, how the blockchain can really improve the player experience. For us, it's really the question we want to solve. So as you can see, we will speak about, we have three
teams.
Three
main teams.
Yeah, three main teams, exactly. Player as stakeholder, transparency, and massive collaboration. Before starting into it, I want to explain what we do at Ubisoft and how we would do that. So I work for the Strategic Innovation Lab. The mission of the lab is to explore the social, technical, and business trends that will shape the future of entertainment. And on this basis, we are trying to help Ubisoft to be prepared to this changes. We strongly believe that blockchain is a huge thing. Something that will change the gaming industry. We don't know how, we are like you. But we have two means to explore this field. The first one is that we have a prototyping team called Les Makers. You will see a video of their work. And they are really looking to understand what blockchain can do by testing and learning. And sorry, the second means that we have is our startup program in Paris. For our first season last year, we were really happy to work with B2Expand, the editors of Beyond the Void. And for the second season, we work with iExec, which is a marketplace for distributing power. Distributed computing power on the blockchain, of course, and with Azarus. And I'm really happy, and that's why Alex is here today with me to help me to present you this thing. So I will show you a video, and what you have to have in mind is that we explore really what blockchain can add to the player experience.
It's a big green one.
This one. Okay.
Not sure if you guys have sound.
A game that runs on a blockchain. John creates islands where he can host challenges for other players. He can also explore and play on the islands that others have created. How does Hashcraft work? Connect to the game, choose a number, press enter, and bam! Your machine procedurally generates a unique island. Set up challenges for other players. Don't forget to plant your flag. Press publish to share your island on the blockchain. To reward you for your creation, you earn a token that gives you access to bonuses. Other players can now enjoy your challenges. And if you want, you can also create a new blockchain hosting a completely new universe. Who do you want to share your new world with? Just a few friends? Or millions of players? Because you operate the world, it is now your call. With Hashcraft, Ubisoft empowers you, the player, to become the stakeholder of your experience.
So, it's not a product. It will not. Maybe it will never be a game. It's a prototype, and the makers, the prototyping team, really try to understand how blockchain could be the good technology. To make the player feels like they are stakeholders of the game. And what here is it to be a stakeholder? What it is? The idea is that we have to find the way players are adding value to the game they play. And in a way, players help us to make the game better. And here we found two value proposition from the player. The first one is that they use, as you see in the video, they use the computing power to run a procedurally generated algorithm, and the result of this computing is stored in the blockchain, so that other players don't have to run the algorithm again. And the second thing is that the player can create challenges. It's user-generated content, and this content is shared with other players and is stored also on the blockchain. So here, the idea is that we can do this game without using any servers. The blockchain is storing the online element of the game, and it's shared by the players. So, of course, we also discovered a lot of constraints here. We can't do real time. We have to find a way to store really few data in the blockchain, and we did. There were actually, for each island created, you have less than 10 KO that are stored on the blockchain. But we also discovered that, as many people said before me, we also discovered that for the player, there is no real consciousness that it is running on a blockchain. So maybe here the real value proposition is more on a community level. The community can decide to keep the game running forever without the editor working on it. And yes, I think that is a true value for the players, but for the community, not really in the experience, in the feeling.
Nice. So yeah, I think that experiment that Ubisoft made is quite phenomenal because it narrows down to a few very important topics that we share as a vision of what gaming may become. And like we have to discover that together. There's no one answer. Everyone is trying it out. One of the things I find quite phenomenal is you guys all know what a fantasy is, right? The fantasy is really like, it narrows down to the IP, but it's more like the words, the characters, their backstory, everything that makes all those virtual guys that you play with alive and relatable. So that fantasy, that's really what Ubisoft or editors or game developers do best. They create words that are amazing. And with the blockchain, those words may not just become your own property. You may not become the game master anymore. What you're doing is creating the opportunity basically for everyone to take over them and create new experience based on that fantasy that you have imagined. So there are a few pretty interesting ideas, and a couple of games actually have leverage already on those. But being able to create new experiences, transferring the same IP from one title to another, playing a cross game with the same component. Basically, all those elements narrow down to the fact that with a great IP that out there, the community at large can get together and build new things, build new experiences, and create a new universe, pretty much like Star Wars, which started ages ago with a few movies and ended up being like hundreds of books, building and rebuilding on top of that ecosystem. That's the same thing here. Maybe one day I can take a rabbit and make it play with Mario. Oh wait, that happened. But the
with a crypto kitty maybe.
Yeah, well, with a kitty then. We're missing the kitty in the equation. But that can happen. And that's pretty phenomenal. That also comes down to the other thing, which is transparency. I'm going to give you the floor for the first one, but there are a few pretty interesting things with the fact that you can actually see what's going on for everyone.
So yesterday I heard someone say that with the blockchain, with the wallet, as developer, we will be able to follow the consumer journey across different games and maybe beyond games on other digital experiences. Actually, I'm not really. I have another kind of thought here, because I think that the question is always how blockchain will empower the players, and here the question is how the wallet will help the player to decide what are the boundaries of his own privacy. I think he will be owner of his own data, and he will choose to share some of it with the developers or not. And the question is not, yeah, cool, we will have more data about the player. The question is more, we have to let the player decide what he wants to do with his own data. So here, if you think about the wallet and the KYC, you speak about that earlier, maybe it could really improve the player experience by solving the problem of toxicity and inappropriate behavior within online games. Why? Because, again, the question is not to ask the player to be fully transparent, to say who he is exactly. The thing is that he can continue to choose his own avatar and his own names, etc., etc. But on the on the origin of it, there is one wallet, or maybe 2 or 3 wallets, I don't know. We will see that in the future. And you can have as many facets as you want. So with the wallets, with the KYC and the blockchain in the end, we can have, in the same time, the anonymity on one hand, but also enough transparency to keep toxicity far from the gaming experience.
So one question for you guys. We talked earlier about game mechanics and game loops and loot boxes. Who believes that loot boxes are fair? Okay. That's a very low vote of confidence. You guys should be worried. Thankfully, well, this will be auditable. And that's the whole thing about blockchain. You can put some parts of the game on the chain and make sure that you can actually prove it. Hey, this is fair. I am not trying to screw you. I'm not trying to create friction or to frustrate you. No, it's out there. It's fair. It's random. That's the way it is. So provability actually is one of the things that I feel is the most exciting. In our case, with Azarus, we look at that for game challenges, being able to prove that, hey, no, the matching was actually fair. I did not match you up with someone that was way above your skill level, just lost in good faith. Hey, that happens. But being able to prove those kind of things becomes easy because you have notarization, you have the information on the chain. And that changes a whole lot of things in the way that you conceive the game. You can just don't put everything on the chain. We all agree that the chain is not a dumpster where you put everything. You have to put what's meaningful and what really creates trust and ensure that people understand what's going on. And we say, hey, well, that happens. That's luck. It's literally randomness, or was just not that good today, and or I deserve that win. And that's pretty cool. Do I have the last one? Oh, that's me. Hang on, I'm still on. Yeah, okay. So the other thing that I like is really the massive collaboration. So earlier today, I talked about Entropia Universe. Entropia Universe, that island, Project Calypso, was sold for $6 million. It's not one single person who bought or sold that island. It's always a group. At that scale, just running the island, I think it's more than 10 and less than 100 people working together, collaborating to just run the island and create a business. So massive collaboration, that happens. That's tough. I mean, I love you guys. I don't know you. I'm not sure I want to get in business with you. Maybe we have to discuss and get to know each other. This creates programmatic trust. The blockchain will make sure that if we get in business together, we can measure how much each of us has brought to the table, how much time we spent on that particular quest or job, and ensure that there is a fair share of the profit, a fair share of the rewards, and make sure that if we put skin in the game, the odds are fair, simply. So this really changes the way you can create collaboration. And if you look at the games those days, it's really there's a kind of a big divide between the clickers and the massively competitive or online games, and kind of the big genres that have been spawning over the past 12 months. When you talk about competition or collaboration at a massive scale, there's always that question of, can I really trust those guys? If I start working with them, will they kill me in the back when we get to the end? What's going to happen? And, well, blockchain may be one of the options where you can create a contract and ensure that everybody plays fair and no one gets hurt in the process and can have fun and not focus about petty details of trust. And that changes a lot of things when it comes, typically for us, when it comes to creating challenges programmatically.
Okay, yesterday morning on the other room, on the track one, Philippe Rosendale was speaking about how he sees the second life on VR and the importance of blockchain. And in fact, it's kind of related to these topics because as you see on the video, you can decide to, for our game, for Ashcraft, you can decide to share a blockchain with just some of your friends or with millions of people or for the people. And in fact, you will be able to modify the history of your universe, because all the data, all the facts are stored, not all, but some of the facts and data are stored in the blockchain. So your community will have its own history, its own version of the universe. It's a possibility. You can decide to make it private, fully private, or public. And we are working, I'm not sure we will do it fully, but we are working on some system to change the rules of the world, the physics of the world. So you will be able to create an island's universe with modified rules. Okay, so it's we say parallel universes. We like to say also something like sharded universes. The idea is really that you have massive collaboration, so you can decide even the rules of your own games world. Okay. So we have not many times left, actually. So we can maybe
so basically,
jump to the conclusion.
Yeah, I think the conclusion here is really about how it's about making the experience better. Not you may change it, you may create new experiences, but today and like for the next few years, as for a guy like Ubisoft, I think the gist here is really, you have games, you have fun, we know how to make fun, to make entertainment. Well, they know, I don't, they know. But it's really how can your blockchain really take that to another level and add to it. We build changes on top of their game on the side. We're not changing the game because the game is fun as it is. It's been cooked by guys who know how to make fun and to create entertainment. So we don't want to change that way. We want to add skin in the game, maybe add some transparency here, there, expand basically the game to add value. And that's really like one of the big takeaways, I guess, here is that you can create totally randomly new experiences, but today let's start by taking what we have, what we know how to do well, and make it better and enhance it and create more value on top of that. I think that's kind of the angle that we had in that presentation.
And maybe I can add something. We are actually yesterday our CEO Yves Guillemot announced that we will organize the hackathon at the end of June, and we will do it with some partners like CryptoKitties, Everdreamsoft, B2Expand, Consensus also. They are very interested in games right now, etc., etc. So you are more than welcome. It's in Paris, but we will try to do the same thing maybe in Montreal and San Francisco if the first hackathon works well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very quickly, any questions? Alex, Nicolas? Right at the back there.
And here also.
Just one of them.
Yeah.
You say who you are and who you're with?
Tim Studler with ReadyUp. One of the things I was particularly interested in was if you see any advantages or disadvantages of the kind of big corporate publicly traded video game publishers versus the indies, and how do you get to market but also be compliant? I think we just saw some of sports betting get regulated. I think ultimately we go down, I don't know if it's a similar path, but there's a path. But what are kind of the unique advantages or challenges being publicly traded versus indie to get on the blockchain for your games?
It's a tough question. First, I think that our advantage is really that we have already a community of players. So here you see we choose not to speak about true ownership, for example. But it's kind of obvious that I believe it's kind of obvious that if Ubisoft decided to trade items on the blockchain, it will really be a massive event. We are not there because, as you say, because of legal stuff. But not only legal stuff. As I said at the beginning, you are fearless explorers to me. On the contrary, at Ubisoft, it's a big company. Not everyone is convinced that the blockchain will change the gaming experience. So we have to do our homework, we have to try, we have to test, and it takes time because we are a big company. You speak about the fact that we are a public company. Yeah, it's also kind of a constraint. We have shareholders, and we have to be sure that they are in line with us on this question. So, yeah.
One thing that I would add, that those guys have a really strong ethics. You know, game as work, game are not work, they are entertainment. And those kind of questions that you as an indie may say, hey, I'll just try it and see which side the toast like falls. But those questions are actually deeper than just a business model or making money. It's like at the heart of what game is. And for having spent a lot of time like really researching how blockchain and AAA games intersect, those issues become actually pretty interesting and pretty deep into what makes or makes not sense for someone creating a fantasy, which is what at the heart a company like Ubisoft should be, creating worlds and creating entertaining experiences. It's not just about creating money, which, like he said, they could put like a Rainbow Six item on the chain and have it traded for thousands or millions.
And actually, the first person who told me that we have to be very cautious to not transform our games as work was the executive producer of Rainbow Six, Sébastien Puel. Yeah. So.
There's a question over here. Oh, right over there. Okay. Okay.
You after the conference or after this presentation about your hacker camp or hackathon in Paris.
Sorry, I didn't.
Do you want to know how to get details of it, or details of the hackathon?
The
how can
details
people find
of the
out?
hackathon. Okay.
I can ask them after this.
Well, no, it's good. It's a good thing. How can people find out details?
You can find the details on the internet, I think.
Where?
The announcement was yesterday. You can, if you type something, if you look for Yves Guillemot on Facebook, you will have all the details.
Yves Guillemot.
He's making the announcement himself. So
Ubisoft blockchain will probably get you where you need to go.
Sorry. Blockchain and gaming, and we want to explore how blockchain empower players, because that's really our core question.
Okay, final question, gentlemen. Just wait for the microphone. Thank you.
Alex, Cryptic Gaming SF meetup. What kind of blockchains you used in this experiment, and which blockchains are you looking into, like direct acyclic graphs, some other solutions?
Yeah.
What's on your radar?
For now, we are exploring everything we can. Here, the makers, the prototyping teams, they used multi-chain because it was something like the purest blockchain that we can find at the time. Very simple to handle, and as you see in the name of the
Multi-chain.
Multi-chain.
Oh,
it's called multi-chain. It's a blockchain. Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
You learned something then. Good.
But you can look for it on the internet. They have a lot of publication.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
I'll be around if you want to check them afterwards.